Let me ask you something. If you own a home in Ontario, or you rent, or you run a small business, did you know that your property taxes are being calculated based on what properties were worth in 2016? Not last year, not 5 years ago, 2016, a full decade ago. And that one fact is quietly costing you money every single year. So here's how property taxes work. And this is the part most people don't realize. Your city collects the same total amount of property tax every year. That number is set by your municipal budget. Assessments don't change how much the city collects. What they change is how the total gets divided up between all of us. When assessments are current, everyone pays their fair share based on what their property is actually worth today. Simple, fair, the way it's supposed to work. But when assessments are frozen, like they have been in Ontario for 10 years, the math breaks. Because property values haven't gone up equally across the board. Assessments don't change how much tax is collected. They change who pays how much. Here's what's happened since 2016. A modest home in a city like London, Ontario, the kind of home a teacher or a nurse might own, was worth about $220,000 back in 2016. Today, it's worth around $480,000. That's a 118% increase. But a luxury home? One that was worth $700,000 in 2016 might be worth $1.8 million today. That's a 157% increase, significantly more. Now here's the problem. Because taxes are still based on those 2016 values, both homeowners are paying as if the market hasn't changed. But the luxury homeowner's property grew much more, which means under a fair system, they should be paying a bigger share of the total tax pie. Instead, they're getting a discount. And who makes up the difference? You do? The person in the modest home? The average homeowner? You're paying more than your fair share so that someone in a more expensive property can pay less than theirs. In a city like London, we're talking about 120,000 households overpaying. Across the province, it's millions. And this has been compounding for 10 straight years. Estimated annual wealth transfer in London alone? $150 million. That is a massive amount of money. And it's not just homeowners. If you run a small business in Ontario, you're caught in the same trap. Think about your local coffee shop. It's probably in an older building on a main street. That building has gone up in value since 2016, sure, but modestly. Maybe 80, 90%. Now think about the big box plaza on the edge of town, or the new commercial development downtown. That land has skyrocketed, 150, 200% or more. But because assessments are frozen at 2016, both properties are taxed as if nothing has changed. The result? Your local barber, your family restaurant, your neighborhood bookstore, they're carrying a heavier share of the commercial tax burden than they should be. They're effectively subsidizing the property taxes of large commercial developers and big box retailers. Small business owners are already dealing with rising costs, labor shortages, and razor-thin margins. The last thing they need is a tax system that's stacked against them because the province won't do a basic assessment update. And here's what really gets me. This is not some unsolvable problem. Every other major province in Canada has already figured this out. British Columbia reassesses every single year. Alberta, every year. Quebec does it every 3 years. Ontario used to do it every 4 years, and the system worked. MPAC has the systems, the staff, and the data to do this. They're ready. We're not asking for anything groundbreaking here. We're not asking for a new system. We're not asking for a revolution. We're just asking the government to let MPAC go back to doing the 4-year assessment cycle that already existed and already worked. That's it. The last province-wide reassessment happened in 2016. A new one was supposed to happen in 2020. Then COVID hit and the government paused it. Fair enough, that was a reasonable decision at the time. But COVID ended, and instead of restarting the process, the Ontario government has quietly issued a regulation every single year to extend the delay. 2021, delayed. 2022, delayed. 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, delayed, 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 delayed. 6 consecutive delay regulations. No end date, no commitment to restart. Meanwhile, every year that passes, the gap between what people should be paying and what they're actually paying gets wider. The inequity compounds. And working families and small businesses keep footing the bill. So what can you do about it? More than you think. First, share this video. The biggest reason this has been allowed to continue for a decade is that most people don't know it's happening. When people find out, they're shocked. So help spread the word. Second, contact your member of provincial parliament. Tell them you know about the assessment freeze and you want it ended. You don't need to write a long letter. Just tell them. Bring back the 4-year assessment cycle. Make property taxes fair again. And third, ask one simple question. If BC can do this every year, if Alberta can do this every year, if Quebec can do this every 3 years, why can't Ontario do what it was already doing before 2020? This isn't a left or right issue. It's not partisan. It's basic fairness. Every homeowner and every small business in Ontario deserves a property tax system that reflects reality, not one frozen in 2016. We're not asking for anything radical, just a return to the 4-year assessment cycle that was already working. Fair taxes, for everyone.